Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about barefoot investor families. So if you're interested, keep watching. Okay. Yes, again, 2-day read, and it's a book just like the Barefoot Investor. You can't put it down. He cracks jokes all the way through yet again, makes it simple so you can relay it to your kids. And this time I have put post-it notes so I don't have to keep flicking. But I will leave a link in the iCard to my review on the Barefoot Investor, because if I hadn't have read that, I don't think this, yeah, probably would have been comprehensible. But it was an insight of the way Scott Pape writes. So, okay. Let's get into the points that I want to talk to you about. Firstly, the Barefoot 10. They're 10 guidelines, if you will. They're not even guidelines. They're a process of what he suggests you should do with your kids before they leave home. And it's there on a full page. You can go on Google, the Barefoot 10, I'm sure it's on Google somewhere. And just like the date nights in the Barefoot Investor, he suggests weekly money meals. And it gets the kids involved because that's when you give them pocket money. But it gives them a sense of being part of the family too, because everyone in the household helps with getting the money meal ready and cleaning up. So they feel like they're part of something bigger than just themselves. And so they're very important. And in here he goes into studies about how families that sit and have a meal together have, statistically speaking, more well-rounded kids as they grow up. So, and the next one is just like the adults have buckets for their budget. Kids have jam jars. They have the giving. The smile, like the adults, is for saving up for something a bit bigger. And the splurge. So he's still telling kids, hey, spend your pocket money. It's all good. Enjoy it. You worked for it. So that's a good idea. And kids will love the idea of placing their own money in their money jars. And he's got a scoreboard for these chores the kids, he doesn't like to use the term chores because they've got to be done anyway, and kids should be doing their fair share of the household. But he's got a scoreboard where you write the job and what they're saving up for, and a quote that I absolutely love, I'm good with money, and their name. So, okay, and the next section is the family treasure hunt, where he teaches you as a parent to teach your kids how to buy and sell second-hand items so they can understand the difference in cost and the loss that they're going to take, which is a really good lesson for kids to learn. in the next section, it's another money meal for the grandparents. He suggests making sure your kids know how to cook 2 nutritious meals before they leave home, because once they leave home, what are they going to get? Uber Eats, Deliveroo, all the delivery mobs, Pizza Hut, Domino's, anything that delivers, and it's going to eat at their money. So if they can at least cook 2 nutritious meals, they're on to something. Now, the next one is breaking the brat, which some kids aren't brats, but they are if you dig deep. If you can get them to go and do some community service, they will appreciate it in the long run. They might not at the time, you know, they're going to be whining and carrying on, but they need to volunteer somewhere, either their time or money, and value the gift of giving. So that's a great idea. And the next one, I didn't put a note on that one. Oh, okay, yes I did, just a couple of pages back. It's getting them to learn how to save on household utility items. Get them to Google the best plan for the internet. Can it save you money? And can they save you $100 a month on your bills? So that's a good challenge for them. Whether you take them up on what they've found on the internet or not is nothing to do with it. It's the actual learning curve that the kids have to learn how to get the best deal for things. The next one is plastic surgery, which is a great one. You need to show your kids that you're good with money too, and he even suggests putting your credit cards in a blender or cut them up, whichever the case may be. So that's a good one, because kids don't need debt. They don't need to look at debt and say, oh yeah, I need debt. Like, he goes into the Dolomites with Commonwealth Bank, and one of their characters is cred. I don't want my kids knowing about credit in school banking. I'm glad I didn't go with the Dolomites for my kids. Get a part-time job when they're 15. It teaches them how to be on time, how to cope with a diverse range of people, disgruntled bosses, disgruntled staff member, disgruntled staff. That's a great lesson to learn. No one taught me about my first job. So, and the importance, the next one is Barefoot Betty. He was given a sheepdog that works after being told to. The dog will get the job done. It was told to round up sheep, and it ran off to get some sheep, and they thought it was long gone. It didn't come back, and then after they'd done all their farm work, here comes the dog trotting up the yard with the sheep. So he talks about how hard work pays off. Now, next one is the low cost and the high growth super funds. If your child starts work and they've got a compulsory super, you can't do nothing about it, but you can change how they invest in that super mob. So he talks about how to go about getting the best deal for your super, even as a 15-year-old, which is a great lesson for kids to learn. He calls it the Uncle Scott's $453,329 gift. If I could give my kids that sort of gift, I'll be happy. And the next one is the Barefoot Ladder. And in this section, it's about helping them get into their first home. Now, you shouldn't just go and say, here kid, here's a deposit, go and buy your house. That's not teaching them nothing. If you want to help them in the long run, you need to help them, not just, here, hand out, take it, go. But he suggests for every $1 they earn, you match that $1 and help them with the deposit. So they know they've got to full on work for their deposit, not, oh, it's just the parents' handout. And if you can't afford that, match 10 cents to every $1. They're still going to be grateful. If they've gone through all the other steps, they are still going to be more than grateful that you helped them. You didn't give it to them. Big difference. And the last one is for the parents. And this is when you've done all you can do for the kids. It's called the Fearless Folder. It's where you write down passwords to your investments. It's where you put the deeds to your house, your will. You give the executors their execution rights, basically. And he says to go to Bunnings and buy a $69 fireproof and waterproof safe. Now, if you pass on and your kids are all upset and distraught, oh, they've left me, what am I going to do? And you leave this Fearless Folder for them, all their questions of financials are going to be answered for them. What a legacy. And if you can help them out after you pass on, that would be a proud parent moment in my eyes. So, yeah. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit of what I've already implemented from this book. My son already has had one chore, and that was to keep his room spotless. He only had to clean it once, and if he kept it clean, he would get $10 a week. And that's because he had such a hard time with me cleaning it and actually getting off his bum and him doing it himself. And that turned out awesome. He is precise with it, and I mean, I'm still not allowed to touch nothing in his room because I lose things, obviously. But I got lazy on paying him, and I started paying him $50 a month. And it just got easier for me to pay monthly. And then his father and I noticed he's doing such a great job, and he's thankful for every $50 he gets. And we thought, why not make him work for some pocket money? And I put it to him what he would like to do for an extra $10 a month. So I left it up to him what he was comfortable with and what he was willing to do. And he and I came to the agreement he's to take out the kitchen rubbish when needed. Now, the kitchen rubbish doesn't need to be taken out every day, but it's probably every other day. And that's fine. That's only $10 a month. I scored. But it's teaching him he's got to work for his money. And he's happy to do that. So before even reading The Barefoot Investor Families, I had already started implementing some of Scott Pape's ideas. Before this new $10 come into it, he had saved up for his very own and paid for himself an iPhone, brand new iPhone. So I was very proud of him, and that told me, yes, he's ready to move on to the next stage of responsibility. If he can do that. Now, he is a bit hoardy with his money, and he's a bit strict on himself as to what he buys and how much he lets himself spend and so forth. So that's something that we do have to work on with him. But it's a process. And I'm very proud of him. So, yeah, can't complain too much. And that was before I read The Barefoot Families. So, I suggest you go out and get yourself a copy and have a coffee and have a read, because if it's too late to implement on your kids, you still learn something, and you can always implement it, say, on your grandkids or your nieces and nephews. It's all worth reading. Okay, I think I've dribbled on long enough. But thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. See ya.